had been a POW, and he must have been a pretty bad guy, because they said, we're not going to be grab like wonderful patriots.
Here we are in the kitchen. Oh,
We're going to take
it's bright in here.
well, at the end of the year, he's in better shape physically than the others. So this is a full-man campaign getting.
There was one over here. Did you have a new one?
They're also making a turkey.
They're not going to be. I mean, that's
There's the turkey.
so what he does is he has a 10-acre plot that he plants potatoes in, and he puts a guard around it. But only during the day. During the night. Oh, gotcha. But at the same time, when I find
But later down the line, when that came up, you don't have to do an 8, you can do it in a combination. You can add up on 6 and a 2, 5 and a 3. So think about keep that in mind.
I got $20 on the kid.
Playing games right now.
Want to wean away from the screen for a couple of minutes? These games are
I got a 7. Oh, I got my 7 down, so I do a 6.
You kind of teased my fellow interpreters. They're all at places that our history was. History still is in this space, because you can't tell, you know, a bride and groom that their wedding wasn't a matter of immense historical significance. So this is a working chapel, again, to this day. I know the press release promised the Christmas story in Latin. I could do that if anybody likes. I can also, I've had questions about what would the French Christmas carols been like. I've got some examples of those, including the Huron carol that a Jesuit missionary, as it was, wrote in the 1640s in the Huron language. Continues to be beloved and sung today, especially in Canada, and especially by Native Catholics. I've got some notes on that as well if anybody's interested. You can clearly tell I love to talk about this place like nearly all of my colleagues do, so please, we welcome questions and requests. And thank you all so much for holidays to all of you, and I hope you have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
And again, work on that holy water font stone. Help smooth.
Because they weren't going to eat their peas or whatever with their fork. You use the back of your knife for that.
Oh, I
Ah,
thought they would use a spoon.
you see a spoon here? Spoon is for soup.
You're going to buy the uniforms, you're going to buy everything, and then you're going to outfit it yourself. So yeah, you're rich.
That's very cool. My friend gave me this bracelet. Isn't that nice? She makes me jewelry.
The commandant's room.
It's kind of dark.
Got his own bed, his own desk, his own chest of drawers.
Lots of little clips I have going on, but Teresa will piece them together.
Of course, there's all that other stuff, the muskets, the beads, the blankets, and all that. I also really won't specialize. There's not that many silversmiths in New France and in North America, so I'm also going to make some of these other things for my European clientele. I might make the frames for miniatures. Of course, that's the way you would give an image to a person back in the days before those wonderful little things in your hand, right? Jewelry, a patch box. It was height of fashion to take a little fabric out of your patch box and put it on your face for men and women. It would also cover up a pox scar. Or I would make hollowware, things like cans, as these are, or a coral cup, out of a flat sheet of silver.
Big house. So what we're doing here is a little bit outside the norm. But the big house, if you notice that opening goes all the way to the back of the building. So you can put wood in there and you get a little bit of an idea about the tools that are so long. We can leave the door open a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Clear a little bit from the brazier. Are you waiting for me, ladies?
Yep. Good evening. Good.
Go ahead, what do you think?
One thing, one way, and the right way, and that's it. But we all learned as adults when we got out into the real world, you need to be a critical thinker. You need to figure out things like on the fly in 100 different ways. And everybody's going to come up with a different way to do it. But with good intentions, that's what it's about. Positivity, you know. That's what we like, is the positivity, the hospitality.
German soldiers. So where the soccer fields and you know, that's where state campground is out there. That's where the Germans actually came up with their own band. And during the
This is the World War One, II, and Korean War section.
So from the 1720s to the 1960s, this site, and even today, the Coast Guard so there's been a Marshall Presence
fighters
here
come down
for almost 300 years.
drop the 50 caliber shells over the parade ground as they're flying over. And they actually did some excavations here and they found
all of that is to say,
shells.
I'm right here.
You can maybe start to feel, yep, you got it there. After you start to puncture, you can maybe start to feel the all bite the wood if you get it through. If you can puncture like that, give the all a couple of sticks.
God and sinners reconciled, joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies, with angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem, hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Castle by Candlelight was just such an amazing experience. I had so much fun being a caroler. I was actually in the 19th century section because I don't know if Julian showed, but there were different sections. There was like the kitchen and bakehouse, which was 18th century. There was the little caroling area where I was, which was 19th century Civil War. However, they didn't have a Civil War costume for me, so I was in 18th century attire in 19th century section. Oops, but no, probably nobody knew the difference. Anyway, there was also 20th century section with reenactors from World War I, World War II, and the Korean War. There was also a section with the Native Americans. So yeah, I don't know what Julianne caught on camera I'm filming this outro right now. But yes, it was so much fun. There was this one guy who came up to me and he's like, I have some questions for you. And I'm like, sure. And he's like, well, what era clothing are you wearing? And I was like, oh, I'm wearing like mid 18th century. And he's like, oh, nice. And then he's just like, how uncomfortable are you? And I'm like, I love how he just like assumes that I'm just like in discomfort in this clothing. But I was like, oh, actually it's like not uncomfortable at all. I was wearing a different pair of skis that fit better this time. So they were it was a little bit more to get used to, but I was very comfortable in them. Also, it was it was about 25 degrees and with snow coming. Like it wasn't snowing while I was there, but the snow was coming. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna be freezing. I actually was not. I was wearing probably like 13 layers. I was wearing 2 pairs of like modern leggings under my my outfit, but a lot of my outfit was like wool and silk, and so those natural fibers help to keep you very warm. That's how they stayed warm in like the 18th and 19th centuries, and you know, it's just the natural fibers help to keep them warm. That's how they, you know, stayed warm at the time. Anyway, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm actually very comfortable. All this wool keeps me really warm. We were also around a fire, so like that was very helpful. And then he was like, last question. I'm like, oh, of course. And he's like, how long did it take you to get all of that on? And so I was like, well, it took me, this is only my second time wearing 18th century clothing, so it took me a while, and I needed help because it did take me a while. But I told him that the woman who does all the clothing, she makes a lot of the clothing, she helps the other reenactors with their clothing. She dresses in 18th century quite a bit, so it only takes her like 15 minutes is what I told him. So yes, it was just super, super fun. We sang a lot of different carols. I'm sure Julianne filmed some of those. There were a couple that I hadn't heard. There was one in French, which I'm pretty sure I like butchered the French pronunciation of some of those words, but like it's fine. It's fine. But yes, they also, in the section that I was in, they told about how people celebrated Christmas in, I think, the 17th century, 18th century, and 19th century, or maybe just 18th and 19th century. I don't remember. But yes, that was really fun. I don't know if Julianne caught on camera the history of caroling. And so the history of caroling is that it originated in the 13th century, and it actually had nothing to do with Christmas or singing. It was, you would go in the dead of winter to your friends and neighbors' houses and knock on the door and be like, "Are you still alive?" Because they were checking up to make sure anybody hadn't run out of firewood or food or anything like that. So that was really interesting. Like, caroling wasn't singing, it was checking to see if the people around you were still alive. Yes, anyway, this outro is getting really, really long. But one more story is that towards the end, these two young women, probably in their like mid-20s, they were so excited to like see us carolers, and they were talking with me about like being a reenactor, and they were singing with us, and they were so enthusiastic, and honestly just like made my night for them to see them so enthusiastic. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. We got to like travel back in time for a little while." And I'm thinking, oh, that's awesome. That's like the point. Like, we love it. We love it. We love to see it. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Thank you, Julianne, for vlogging it for me. I can't take any of the credit. But if you enjoyed this vlog, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my videos, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Hit the little bell notification and comment if you'd like. Thanks, friends. Bye.